Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Bachi podcast. We have a great show for you. Right off the bat, huge news out of Washington we got to cover. A lot to get to. I know, big day yesterday. A lot to talk about on the other side. Starts right now. Davis, welcome back to the Bachi Boys. We got a great show for everybody. Some big news out of Washington yesterday, Davis, that we have to talk about. Everybody's talking about it. It's all over the internet. It's the state of our nation. It's a big change. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Marshall Lattimore to the Commanders.
Huge change in D.C. The way Washington operates. No one's ever wanted to go there, and now people are begging to go there, man. Very, very interesting. Watch out for the Commanders. DC's getting dangerous.
Yeah, look, definitely a lot more spending on the defensive side, which I'm not surprised about. I think it's going to be a huge move for them.
Yes.
We'll see. Obviously, all fun and
here's what their immigration policies are coming from New Orleans, but
let's move on. Next topic, please.
On a better note, yes, we are a sports podcast. Let's get you to some sports. Davis, let's start actually with Marshall Lattimore. In all seriousness, seriously, he's a Commander now. That's amazing. It's really, really cool as an Eagles fan to see the Commanders turn a page. Seriously, it really is. They've gone through some hardships. They've gone through hell with that owner, and really good players want to be there. That's awesome. On another note, I hate it. That's really not good to see as an Eagles fan. Also, because we have a gigantic Thursday night game against them next Thursday. And I'm sure he'll be ready for that. I'm sure he's ready for that because there's a lot of clips going around on Eagles Twitter of A.J. Brown like burning the crap out of Marshall Lattimore last year. So I would have to assume Marshall's waiting for that matchup.
100%. And you know Marshall Lattimore is, and I say this politely, is one of the cockier cornerbacks in the entire league, like up there with James Bradbury on the defense, on the secondary side when it comes to trash talk and all that kind of stuff. So
watch those compilations of him and Mike Evans.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's definitely a huge move for them. I mean,
yeah, seriously,
it's them saying, "Hey, we're going to put our eggs in a basket. We found our quarterback. Now let's bolster the defense." Now they thought that was going to happen over the offseason, thinking that, hey, Jaden Daniels is going to take maybe a year to progress, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It took Jane Daniels about 5 minutes to progress into maybe a top half quarterback in the entire league. So we'll see. Yep. You never know with rookie quarterbacks. Like Stroud's not having the greatest of sophomore seasons this year, but it's about this year. The Texans made the playoffs last year. The Commanders are looking to do the same this year with their rookie quarterback, and definitely not the expected NFC East foe that the Eagles were looking for early in the season.
No, and the Eagles have a crazy matchup with the Cowboys this Sunday that is getting crazier by the minute, but it's not the matchup that we thought it was. We thought going into Jerry's World early in the season this could be tough, but no, we're circling the game later in the week, not even a week later. But as you can see on the Davis on the left side, we do have multiple trades that happened. A couple, I don't know, guys that may have been bigger names a couple years ago, big changes for these teams, but Davis, the biggest change that we already kind of mentioned is the Saints. They fired Dennis Allen on, was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. Early Monday morning. I can understand why. Losing to the Panthers like that, especially a division team that kind of puts the stink on you. Like they are officially probably the worst team in the league. I texted you about this actually, Davis, but a lot of 2-win teams in the NFL right now, a staggering amount that it's going to be really fun to see who gets that number one pick, but there's a couple of teams that really stink out, really stand out, and the Saints are one of them, man.
Yeah, I think after this week's podcast, next week we'll most definitely have to dive down into, race for the number one pick, and we don't have a name yet. It's not race for Shador. It's not tank for Beck. It's, you know what I mean? So we don't know. It's gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna be tank for something. We'll have to
Mhm.
come up with that next week. We'll have to find kind
Yeah.
of go over
Cam Ward.
we'll
Yeah.
have to go over to the creative department and see what they
Mhm.
think. But yeah, definitely. I think I think Dennis Allen probably was a bottom 3 coach in the entire NFL, and it's been that way for the
History.
last
NFL history.
in the last 3 years, especially. I mean, this Saints team had talent in the last few years, and they have crumbled.
Well, I will say
Knowing
they've been living in cap hell too, for sure.
100%, but they are a type of team in the division that they're in that they should be getting 9 wins, and they should be division leaders. And they lost it last year to I don't almost want to say a red hot Buccaneers team to end the year, but pretty much. I mean, look, the division's just up for grabs, and
Yep.
the Saints needed to make a change, and I
Yep.
am in full agreement of this move. I think he should have been fired a long time ago, but we got the news on Monday.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Saints. I think they kind of want to suffer like another year or two because of how bad the cap issues are. So I don't really know what to think about this. They are a long-standing, great franchise that usually doesn't have the kinds of lows that they're experiencing right now. So very interesting to see that. But then again, they did hire Dennis Allen, who is one of the worst coaches in NFL history. Seriously, he has, I want to say, over 6 full seasons in NFL head coaching experience and 1 winning season. And I
Yeah,
think
crazy.
it was like 9-7 or 8-8 or whatever.
Yep.
So not really amazing. Also, his quarterbacks, both the times he got fired, starting quarterback at the time of him fired, both jobs, Raiders and Saints. Derek Carr, very interesting.
Who I actually also just saw a stat. I wish I actually had thought about this earlier, but the NFL record for most quarterback losses over 3 and 4 seasons was David Carr, and
Yeah.
over like 6, 7, 8 seasons, it's actually Derek Carr. So we're seeing the Carr. They are
The Carr family
they are
legacy is
brothers.
carrying.
Are they brothers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if they were like cousins. Okay,
They
they're
look
brothers.
so similar. Yes. Yeah.
Brothers taking down these NFL historic records that they definitely
I
don't
guess so.
want to have. So
Because the Mannings and then the
100%.
Carrs.
Hey, that rookie passing interception record is still there in hold.
That's never going to go down. That's never going down.
22 or something. Yeah, crazy.
I think, yeah, it's crazy like that. And then the last piece of news, Embiid. We didn't really cover this. He was suspended for 3 games this weekend, Davis. I'm sure if you've even heard by now, Marcus Hayes, public enemy number 1 in Philly, of many, but at least on the basketball side, he had quite the article last week, basically saying that Embiid is distracted by his young infant son at that, who was named after his late brother who passed away right when he got to the league. And that reporter decided to go after his son and his late brother in an article basically kind of scathing Embiid's work ethic and his determination to win a championship, sort of. And Embiid did not take too kindly to that, Davis. He really did not. At first, it was reported he punched him by Keith Pompey. So screw Keith Pompey for that because not accurate. It was later reported that it was a shove, a light shove, I think, at that. Very interesting. No footage came out of that, to be honest, because in a locker room where, especially in Philadelphia, no one had their phone out recording that. Of all the things that get recorded, very interesting.
Look, I wouldn't want to take a light.
I'm on Embiid's side, but I understand the suspension.
Agreed. I wouldn't want to take a light shove from a guy who's 7'2".
Marcus Hayes clearly didn't know who he was messing with because he's never seen Embiid in person.
A light shove from somebody like that is like Andre the Giant probably flicking us from to another room. So
that's a running lariat.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Ethan and I kind of brought this up last week. The Sixers. I want to take it away from Joel Embiid for 1 second. I'm at the point where I don't want to pull. Like, I am not Sixers. I do not want to affiliate with the Sixers. I am at that point 100%. I have felt like I've been at that point for the last 3 years, and I am actually 100% thinking about moving to another team. I think we all know what team that might have been if you watched last week's podcast. But I mean, we've seen it's story on end. I mean, all the memes about how things have happened in the last 9 years, but Joel Embiid still.
In all seriousness, there's a lot of tweets today that the last time Trump won and all this stuff that's happened, Embiid still hasn't made a conference finals.
Absolutely,
coming from people that are not basketball accounts. Like, people are just taking shots at Embiid for no reason.
But it's deservingly so at this point. You cannot you cannot be at the stature and level of where Joel Embiid's basketball game is right now.
He did have a quote that he was like, after all that I've done for this city, and fairly enough, a lot of people pointed out, what have you done for the city?
Joel? What have you done, Joel? Gotten us to the second round 3 times.
He's put his body on the line a lot for sure, but
out of there with that. I'm done with that. I know one view. I know Steve Volrath is going to be ecstatic to hear that.
I'm not going to lie.
He's put me on that wave.
Paul George has that slight bit of hope within me still. If the 3 of them have chemistry and are healthy together in the playoffs.
Hey, the Suns just beat the Sixers. Just saying on Monday night. So
we'll talk about our Suns later in the year, Davis. Too early for the Suns. All right, let's get to some football. I want to talk about the Eagles right out of the gate. There's a couple other games that we need to get to, a couple other games we need to preview for this week. Let's talk about the Eagles, man. Quite a victory. First off, they were in the Kelly Greens, looked sick, and I'm so glad they were in the Kelly Greens in this game. A lot of people were saying this was possibly a wasted Kelly Green game because of the Jags, but that Saquon backwards hurdle in the Kelly Green forever cemented in NFL lore, history, pictures. I think it's up there with Chuck Manderrick. Seriously.
Yeah. Absolutely. I had a busy weekend. I was up in New York City all weekend, and I was actually listening. I missed the hurdle. I got in the car to come home with about 6 minutes left in the second quarter. So I actually completely missed the hurdle. At halftime, I called my dad just to chat with him for 20 minutes before I turned the game back on.
Halftime chat daily.
He was like, "Yeah, I mean, we know this. Come on,
this is casual stuff." Obviously.
He was like, "Did you see the hurdle?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." So I quickly looked it up, and wow, astonishing.
First off, he should never do that again.
No, he should never do that again. But that is Saquon Barkley. I mean, we've 100%. Had it. I don't think it's on this intro, but one of the other intros that we've had in the past,
Iowa game,
is Saquon Barkley in midair taking a hit at Iowa.
As Penn State fans, this is nothing new to us.
This is in 2018, I believe. No, 2017 maybe.
Yeah,
just the guy has an extra motor. The guy has extra dog in him, and I don't say that
another leg of athleticism. It's
something. He holds the squat record at Penn State University. That is insane. That is absolutely insane.
And Penn State, say what we want about them, but they have a lot of pros, and especially a lot of pros in that defensive, offensive line. And the running back has the squat record.
And I don't believe that's a football record. I think that's a gym record.
Oh, wow. Oh,
that's you know
think
what
about
I mean?
The Penn State wrestling team. Holy crap.
I'm pretty sure it's a Penn State record.
that is fascinating. We need to double check on that. But regardless,
absolutely.
Saquon casually put up the most easy, I think, 150 rushing yard game ever. He looked really good, but the rest of the Eagles, they look good as well. But the decision-making, that was the problem. Nick Sirianni borderline cost us this game for a hot second. We won the game. Nothing too much to complain about, really. But the decision-making is a problem.
Yeah, we've known this. I heard a great analogy, actually, and you see the game right under this, the Lions to beat the Packers. I saw a great analogy from the podcast that I listened to about, hey, if you switch Nick Sirianni and Matt LaFleur, Matt LaFleur for the Packers is actually the reason why they are where they are. They're 6-3. It's because of Matt LaFleur. The Eagles are now 6-2 and could be better, but they have Nick Sirianni at the helm.
Just think of that Falcons game.
If the coaches switched, the Eagles would be 7-1, and the Packers probably would be 3-6.
Yep.
The Eagles definitely. Again, I didn't watch a lot.
Malik Willis started at least 3 games with the Packers too.
Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of this game. Listened on the radio, and it was very entertaining to see Merrill Reese get very, very colorful about Nick Sirianni's decision making by going for 2, missing the tush push twice, not going for a field goal. I believe early in the game. I wasn't watching, but doing the same thing late in the game. Look, a win's a win, though. I'm in that boat where a win's a win, and off to Jerry's world.
Yep, I completely agree. Going for 3 2-point conversions in a game like that is too much. The Giants did the same thing, but guess what? They didn't have a kicker. That's the problem. A lot of things to talk about here. But, Davis, you're right. A win is a win. The defense looked good in spots when they needed to. Jalen Hurts has been, dare I say, elite as a quarterback the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think he had a stat that was like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to pull this up on my phone really quickly. Let me read it.
But
4 straight games with a quarterback rating over 119. That's the first time in the history of the franchise anyone has done that, including McNabb, Randall Cunningham. I mean, if you want to throw Michael Vick in there, it's very, very, very impressive from Jalen Hurts. But he had some spots for sure, but like he always does.
I give him credit for sure, but you
Mhm.
have to give credit for who he's throwing the ball to. I know A.J. Brown exited that game early, but Devontae Smith woke up in the second half.
That catch was crazy.
Which he's done multiple times now this year.
Mhm.
That he's, I mean, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? He had 1 reception for -1 yards, and it's like you know when he's going to come out and he's going to come out firing. Like it's literally his time to touch the ball. Goddard still not in either. I mean, Goddard is a guy who's just all reliable. I mean, he had 160 yards against the Saints earlier this year.
Yes,
Smith and AJ Brown were hurt.
And he's been hurt since, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
but I saw he's a full participant in practice today, for what it's worth.
Yeah. So this Eagles team definitely is scary. Nick Sirianni definitely needs to get his head on, and I don't know if that's doing a 180 and literally like spinning his head halfway around, around his neck, because something's got to change, and someone's got to tell him that he's got to change.
Yeah, because this team is a contender, Davis. I hate to say it, I hate to put it out there, but this team is good. This team has the talent. This team has everything. But in this very weird, unique scenario, the coach is what's holding them back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very weird. Darren Orlovsky had a whole thing about it on ESPN where, like, you don't hear an ESPN guy really talk that illy of a coach. Kind of just shows how things are at. But Davis, 6-2, have 2 gigantic games coming up. We'll focus on that. Let's get to the Lions and the Packers. The Lions dominated this game. Also want to add a lot of conditions in Lambeau. I think it was rainy, kind of cold. A weird game. But the Lions controlled most of it. The Packers scored late, but the Lions might be the best team in the league. Seriously. Like, they lost Aiden Hutchinson, haven't lost a step. They traded for Zadarius Smith, not a flashy trade, but a guy who's going to keep the machine on turning over there.
Absolutely. I think that Zadarius Smith trade is actually going to be massive for them on that front, on that defensive front. But look, this Lions team, they were one of my higher picks coming into the year, and they have done everything that I've expected out of them.
Who's their loss? Is it Tampa Bay?
Yes, Tampa Bay.
Okay, all right. That's a good loss.
Yeah, so they're, they got their wheels on, and Jared Goff looks borderline elite. You want to talk about it, or you want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it. I'm going to say elite. Like,
yes,
I think he's know the Rams want to.
He's not like earth-shattering numbers.
Yeah.
It's not earth-shattering numbers.
Yeah, I know the Rams won a Super Bowl after that trade, but it's still a weird enough trade that you're like, really? Like, I know they still have Stafford too, but Goff is hitting his prime right now, and I mean, to an effect that no one ever thought he had that within him. So, what's crazy too, he's a former number 1 overall pick, and he was being doubted like that.
Went to a Super Bowl also.
So weird. He might be a Hall of Famer at the end of it, and people are like, what was the problem with this guy? Seriously. Talking about the Rams, though, let's go to that Rams-Seahawks game. Rams. They are 4-4. Seriously, the Seahawks started off very well. They looked really good first half of the year. Had some very tight games. Kenneth Walker was looking good. Geno Smith looked borderline freaking elite, too. I know we're saying that a lot, but the Rams got the guys back. They got Puka. They got Cup back. And they got Demarcus Robinson looking like a Pro Bowler for some reason. I don't know, man. This NFC West division is so weird, but that's a gutsy win in overtime for the Rams. Seriously.
Yeah, brutal division. We have it on the next slide. We'll talk about the divisions and where they stand right now. Puka actually left this game early, got ejected.
Yeah, open-handed jab, I guess.
Yeah, very interesting. But this is a Rams team that I had picked to win the division or to start the year. I definitely saw some light in them. There was definitely some. I did not think that Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were going to miss multiple weeks, but having Kyron Williams as their running back, and then that
scores in every single game.
The defense is holding their own. People came into last year thinking the Rams had the worst defense in the league. They held their own last year. They weren't awful. They weren't great, but they weren't awful. But they're holding their own now, and I still think that they have a chance. I'm not calling them a contender whatsoever. They are not a contender in my eyes, but that doesn't mean that they can't win this division.
I completely agree. There's a lot of teams that can win the division, but also I do want to make a note of the Rams have been clowned the last like 5 years for not having draft picks, not doing whatever, but they've like very low key knocked their last 2 drafts out of the park to the effect that like most of their defensive starters are rookies or second year guys that playing their asses off. So Sean McVay, like the fact that he almost retired last year to go do Amazon or something still baffles me. It was baffling me in the moment. He is an amazing coach. Why would he leave? The Rams should make him their forever coach like Belichick. Seriously.
Yeah, if he wants to go to Amazon, I hope the Eagles match that deal. Right?
Yeah, seriously. Nick Sirianni can go talk about Amazon. Let's talk about this next game, though. Cowboys-Falcons. Not a great game. I kind of just put this on here for a couple of reasons. One being the Eagles are playing them next week, and Dak got hurt in this game. He will miss multiple weeks. I think he's being put on IR. But nonetheless, Cooper freaking Rush will start against the Eagles in Jerry World this Sunday. And, I mean, he's not a terrible backup. He's not an amazing quarterback. But it's the weirdest move ever that I'm like, I'm very jealous. Not jealous, but nervous going into Jerry's World. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This Dallas team, 3-5 right now. Their offensive line is horrendous. Their defense looks horrendous. I mean,
they're getting Micah back, I think.
You know it's bad. I mean, Rowley Doolittle went and got 75 yards on the ground, I believe.
Who? Oh, are you talking about Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowell. Rowley. Did I say Rowley Doolittle? Rico Dowell. Uncle Rico over there. Uncle Rico. Put up 75 yards. Ethan, that's one of the highest rushing games the Cowboys have had.
Doolittle, that's hilarious.
I don't know why that spawned in my brain. 75 yards out of them is amazing for how this Cowboys rushing offense has looked all year. And they went into the offseason and decided against going and getting Derrick Henry and swiping the credit card. And so they kind of get what they deserve. And, obviously love seeing this Cowboys team at a 3-5 spot.
Yeah, no, I really love seeing the Cowboys lose. But the Falcons, I do want to talk about them too. 6-3 right now. Kirk Cousins talking like he's been living in Atlanta for 10 years every single week. It's getting weird. But the Falcons are very, very, very dangerous. But what's wrong with Drake London? Is he out this week? Because I know, Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback, but I think Drake London's very not low-key having a breakout year. And not having him could be very tough because I think he opens up the field for Kyle Pitts. He makes Bijan run quicker. Just something to monitor. Or maybe I'm just a concerned Drake London fantasy owner, but you tell me.
Yeah, he's questionable right now. I haven't really heard whether he's leaning on one side of the fence of playing or not this year. Yeah. But, I would say he's not having a bad year. I mean, maybe
he's not having a good year.
Maybe he's not having a breakout year, like a top 10 year. But, I mean, he's definitely there. Like, I thought you were saying that he was not having a breakout year.
No, I thought that he was.
Okay. I kind of agree. Like, he is, like, right there in top 10-ish, top 15-ish status.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Look at Kyle Pitts. I mean, he's gotten over 5 receptions, like 3 of the past 4 weeks or something. Like, and he hadn't had over 3 receptions in his entire career before that in a single game. So,
still insane. He's a top 5 tight end.
I like Kirk Cousins. I think this Falcons team definitely can be scary, and I think they are another team that they can win this division, and I would put them at borderline contender status.
Really?
I would, absolutely. I think I said that last week too.
That is fascinating, and I think we talked about it already, but Falcons are really doing everything right. Like, Michael Penix will probably come in and be a superstar. Very, very smart play from their team this year. And then you want to talk about a smart team. This Monday night game. The reason I've only put it on here is just because I think the Chiefs are being underreported with how good they are. People are just kind of going along with the fact that, they won 2 back-to-back World Super Bowl championships. They're really good. They Patrick Mahomes. They're 8-0 right now, and they're kicking ass every single week. I mean, their defense is insane. They're sort of a power running team with Kareem Hunt, who was, on the streets of wherever, sitting on his couch 2 months ago, and he's looking like, he never left the Chiefs in that unfortunate incident. But they are steamrolling. And then they bring in DeAndre Hopkins, and he has like 4 catches on that one drive, and you're like, what are we doing? And then after the game, he tweeted a picture of like not Mahomes, Brady and Randy Moss and was like, kind of feels like those vibes a little bit. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, we'll see, obviously, how the rest of the season goes. Yes,
Yeah.
I think DeAndre Hopkins can be a weapon that he was never utilized enough in Tennessee. But the one thing I would say is this Chiefs team is probably the luckiest 8-0 team I've seen since the Eagles last year. This Chiefs team they've won close games almost every single week. The Chiefs?
The Eagles?
Last year, I think.
Really? I'm down.
Either that or 7-0. But either way,
anyway.
we won close games last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like all those games were close games, and then we folded at the end of the year. I don't think the Chiefs are going to fold at the end of the year, but I think they do have some losses in their bucket at some point.
Yeah.
I see a perfect season coming. When they play a tough schedule or a tight schedule when they actually only have a point differential of 58 points. They're 8-0.
Yeah.
The Chargers right ahead of them are 5-3 and have a 58.
Interesting. The Chargers have been playing their asses off. I mean, we can talk about them for a second.
Chargers have been weird, but anyway, mind you saying, I think the Chiefs have some losses in their bucket. I'm not saying more like
they should want to get. This sounds so dumb, but they should want to lose at least twice before the end of the regular season.
You would think. I don't know.
Last thing that Chiefs team needs is walking into the playoffs facing a three-peat undefeated. Holy crap.
My hot take would be, though, at this point, I know it's not as much of a hot take, but I don't see the Chiefs three-peating at this point. I still actually don't think I have them in my top 2 of power rankings at this point. I think I'd still put the Lions ahead of them, and I think about putting the Ravens ahead of them, to be completely honest with you.
Interesting. On the Buccaneers side, they are 4-5 now. Obviously without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, they are kind of a weird running back crew, but they're running the ball very well. They're still in it. 4-5, though. That's the problem. They've looked really good the last 9 weeks of the season, but the record completely tanked in the last 3 weeks. What's going on with the Buccaneers?
Yeah,
besides the wide receiver troubles, obviously.
It didn't help that Chris Godwin and Mike Evans got hurt on the same Sunday night evening. They're throwing some of the guys, the wideouts are ridiculous at who Baker Mayfield. It's going to be us sitting in a bar in 10 years and being like, oh, remember this guy? It's like what a pool. Like
John McMillan, Sterling Shepard.
Crazy. This Buccaneers team, I'm a little worried for them, to be completely honest with you. They've got the 49ers coming up. They have a pretty light schedule actually ahead of them, but I think Baker Mayfield, if he keeps doing his thing, I'm happy with it. But the defense has started to kind of fold a little bit more than I'd like at this point. So we'll see. I do still think the Falcons will win this division. The Falcons have swept the season series like we talked about last week. So the Buccaneers definitely do have an uphill climb if they want to win this South.
Yeah. Buccaneers looked really, really good at the beginning of the year. Really, really good. So it sucks that they've fallen so far because kind of become a Baker guy. He's looking like the most consistent guy ever. And the Browns really screwed up getting rid of him, man.
Baker Mayfield is who we all thought Johnny Manziel was going to be.
Yes, exactly.
I saw that tweet and I was like, wow, that's perfect.
DUI tape and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, on to the games for this weekend. The best game of the weekend. Tell me if I'm wrong. I made this list. I'll put my hand up and own it. Steelers Commanders has to be game of the weekend, right?
You told me this before the season. I might be looking at this a little biasly 100%. And saying like it's crazy you're putting this game at number 1. I do think it's a top 3 game. I'm not going to put it at number 1 though. I'm actually going to put this Thursday night game at number 1. Bengals Ravens.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I think this game is going to be tremendous. But for Steelers Commanders, it's 100% going my top 3 for the weekend, and I think it's a must watch for. I think it's just going to be a tremendous football game with a great offense going up against an elite defense.
Seriously, and then the Steelers offense is not anything sexy at all. I know they just got Mike Williams and whatever, but they get it done, and this could be a points fest. It really could be, and I hope so. But hopefully the Commanders can take home a loss before they face the Eagles next Thursday. We also have to face the Steelers later in the year, so it'll be great to see, where the Steelers are at versus where we will be at next week. But yeah, really, really interesting game to see where both these two teams are. Kind of where my thinking is. Yeah. Because for this next game, Lions-Texans, I think we know both of these teams are good.
I don't know if we know that about the Texans, to be completely honest with you. They're 6-3, but it's kind of similar to the Chiefs. It's a little bit of a fraudulent 6-3. I think a lot of people would have expected the Texans to be 6-3 at this point, but they scraped a win away against the Colts. They lost to the Jets last week. They lost to the Packers 2 weeks ago. They barely beat the Jaguars earlier in the year.
That's true.
They got crushed by the Vikings. I actually don't have amazing high hopes for the Texans this year. CJ Stroud has not looked like anything what he looked like in the past.
No.
Now it doesn't help that Diggs is now out for the year and Nico Collins is on IR.
He's having offensive line troubles too, I think.
Yeah, the interior of their offensive line, I saw a stat, is like one of the worst of the decade. It is so bad. Their guard play and their center are horrendous.
And they made trades for teams' offensive line and stuff like that.
Their defense is underwhelmed a little bit, but I think if the offense kicks back into gear, absolutely this team can be right back up there and contend their status. But I'm not putting them there right now. I think this Lions team actually will cover this spread, and I think they beat them handily.
I hope you're right. The Lions look really good. They're really fun to watch. But this next game, I'm kind of regretting putting them at 3 now that you said this. Maybe the Thursday night game should be at 3. But this is just more of NFC East matchup in Dallas. Just kind of means more. Doesn't matter. Cooper Rush is going to play. And then this would be the time to also mention A.J. Brown did practice today. That's a good sign. But Jalen Hurts did not. He was a limited participant. They listed it as rest as the reason why he didn't play, but something just to monitor. I think Lamar also did something similar last week where he didn't practice on Wednesday and Thursday, and he was fine. He ended up playing that week. So just something to monitor. That's all.
Yeah, I don't mind the rest.
100%.
The podcast I listen to and a lot of people that I've been speaking to, a lot of their best bets of the entire weekend is Eagles -7.
Really?
I can't get on board with that. Like, I'm not saying.
Is that because you're an Eagles fan?
Yes. Like,
okay.
I want to. Exactly. I can't get on board with taking an Eagles with a minus spread. I don't think I would ever do that. I took the Browns plus 9.5 earlier this year.
Fair enough,
Know what I mean?
Actually, yeah.
I'm not taking the Cowboys +7, but I do think that this Eagles team should win this game. But you never know.
They should win this game by 14, but
I
don't know. Very, very weird game. And then this next game, Bengals-Ravens. This is going to decide the Bengals season. This is a game that I think, the Ravens are ready for. These two, division teams that play each other a lot make it weird. But this game means so much to the Cincinnati Bengals for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the record this year, all that stuff. But 2, Jamar Chase. His contract is not up, but he really, really, really wants a contract extension at the end of this year. And it's worth mentioning that the Cincinnati owners are historically cheap, very, very historically cheap, to the fact that their third trade in franchise history was when they traded for Khalil Herbert yesterday. Third trade ever.
In season trade.
No, franchise. I think it's franchise trade. That was what I heard on a podcast.
Wow.
At least.
Wow,
so
that's crazy.
That's just how historically cheap the Bengals have been. So, I'm not saying they're going to trade Jamar Chase, but if it gets bad, it could get real bad in Cincinnati quickly. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to pick a winner for this game.
Okay.
I really, I see the spread here at 6.5. I think it's 50-50. I really do, which makes me now say I probably should be looking at the Bengals as a dog. Yeah. But I think this game's 50-50. The Bengals are on a roll. What I would be looking at, though, 100% is even if the Bengals win or lose this game, either way, take a look at their playoff future odds. Because if they win this game, they're probably going to be like -1.
If they win, fair enough. But
if they lose the game, dude, they have a path. And all they have to do is catch up to the Los Angeles Chargers. I'll take a stab at it.
They play each other next week, so that would
100%.
that would be a very interesting path. No, I agree. But this last game, 49ers, Buccaneers, this is straight up a loser leaves town game. These two teams are about the same place. The Niners are 4-4, Buccaneers 4-5. The Niners are supposed to get Christian McCaffrey back this weekend. We were actually just talking before the podcast, but you think he might be on a pitch count or something. I don't necessarily think that. I think when you got Christian McCaffrey, you play Christian McCaffrey. But at the same time, he probably should have been the MVP last year. He was so freaking good that maybe you do rest him and ease him back into a game with the Buccaneers. But I don't know. I think this game could be so interesting. This could be game of the day. This could revitalize the 49ers. but also not. I'm really curious. Really, really, really curious.
I'm not a fan of the Niners this year. I wasn't a fan
No,
of the
obviously
Niners
no.
this year. Going into the year, how their schedule looked, how all this stuff, and I'm still not a Niners fan this week. This is another game. I think the Buccaneers have been a very feisty team. I think this is going to be a one possession game, and it feels like the type of game of who's going to have the ball last. It really does, because I think that there might not be a ton of points scored in this game. I'll give you a walk off field goal by Jake Moody. I don't know if Jake Moody's actually still hurt. But give me a walk off field goal for the 49ers to win 23-20 this week.
Okay, I like it. Even though you just said you hate the Niners.
Yeah, but the Buccaneers, like the Niners 100% have disappointed multiple weeks this year. And I think if they win this game 23-20, it feels like a disappointment. It really does. Like they should be beating this team. This is their Super Bowl runner-up from last year. They should be handedly beating this hurt Buccaneers team, but I don't think they will. So I still think it's going to be a disappointment, even though a win's a win.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Davis, let's get to college. Actually, no, hold on. Just reminded me. I got a couple questions for you. Taking the standings if you're on YouTube, we got the video up right here. But how do you feel about the Bears? Did you see that DJ Moore video?
I did not.
Oh, so there's a play last week where, Caleb snaps the ball, scrambles to the left, and he's looking for DJ Moore along the left sideline, and he doesn't see him. And DJ Moore instead just walks out of bounds in the middle of the play. He just goes and sits down, and Caleb then rolls to his right, not to end the play, but to continue to play because it's not over. And he's looking for people and throws it out of bounds. And DJ Moore is sitting on the bench by that point.
Yeah, I think this Bears team, they're young. They have a young leader at quarterback. They have a young, maybe not young age-wise, but young status-wise coaches. Like, I think this Bears team they are a team that
young up here.
Yes. I don't see this Bears team making the playoffs. I
feel bad.
Early in the year, there was a possibility all four NFC North teams could have made the playoffs.
2 weeks ago, it looked like that could happen.
I think the Bears fall out of that conversation. Not because they're bad. I just don't think they're there yet.
They're badly coached. Like, they're a very good defense that isn't making good defensive plays. Like, giving up a simple 10-yard reception to Terry McLaurin that leads to a Hail Mary that is so shocking that is probably going to destroy your season. Seriously.
Yeah, and they just lost the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been red hot recently, so I'm gonna pass on the Bears making the playoffs this year.
Yeah. How about the Jets?
I don't want to pass on them. I'm not going to pass on them, but I'm going to reluctantly say they have a chance.
I agree.
Look, they're a team.
I was going to go a step further.
They're 3-6. They are not going to win the division, so they need to fight for that playoff spot. You know what they're going to be doing on Thursday night? They're going to be rooting for the Baltimore Ravens because the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that they're also catching. But this Jets team started the year. Not only did they start the year horrendously, they really did. They had a tough schedule to start the year. Now coming towards the middle to end of the year, they've got the Cardinals. Look, the Cardinals are actually kind of red hot right now. Should be a really good game, actually. Probably could have made the list. Then you got the Colts are kind of stinking right now. You've got the Seahawks at home at MetLife. Then you're at Miami. Miami has not been playing well this year. Then you're at Jacksonville, arguably the worst team in football this year. I mean, this is a team that could still win 9 games. The question is, does 9 games even get you into the playoffs? I don't know.
Now that's the golden question. I don't know, but this Jets team should not be 3-6. So it just kind of makes me think that they will not show the tendencies of a 3-6 team the rest of the year. Although, losing to the Patriots, this year once, I think is criminal. The Patriots are so bad with the talent you have on the Jets team. You should crush them in both games. It doesn't matter where they are. But, we'll see what happens. Maybe they get a late season boost.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers is drinking a lot of that cayenne pepper in his water.
Oh, yeah.
Doing whatever he can to do whatever. The Pat McAfee boys will, tell him what he needs to hear. So
big time.
Going on to my last one, the NFC West. I just put all 4 of them here with a question mark because I think they're the same team. They're all the same team. Whoever wins this division will kind of be the identity of the entire division, I think. They'll just keep beating each other. I really like the Cardinals, though, man. I really, really like the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals.
Does whatever team that wins this division have a chance to go far? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that's a good point
Yeah.
that I agree with. I don't think so. But this Cardinals team, like, I think I had said it before the season started to
Yeah.
look at future win markets of them after like 6 games. Because their first 6 games were against playoff teams, and they actually played pretty well against them. They went 2-4 against those playoff teams.
Yeah.
Then what did they do since? They beat the Chargers, they beat the Dolphins, and they beat the Bears. So this team actually has a chance. I don't know what their odds are to win the division, but I would not be shocked that the Niners are
It's
still
like
at
200 on Monday.
something probably.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't hate taking a stab at that. I'm just worried about their defense, though, and I
Fair
agree.
enough.
I don't think
Yeah.
any of these teams are contenders in my book.
Yeah, I agree. I really tried to find 3 teams, but I think it's going to get harder going forward because it's either going to be straight bad or straight like contenders.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to college football now. All right, so Penn State lost.
Yeah, tough game. It's already gone though. Like in my mind, like look, college football playoff came out. I'm fine. We're at 6, which actually kind of surprised me that we were even that high. But I'm putting it on James again. Like James can't win the big game. We had what technically 0 offensive points if you consider field goals being a special.
No, you're right. Yep.
We were stopped at the goal line in 2 separate occasions. On offense, cannot do that. And Ohio State did not look good. This Ohio State team is actually favored to win the college football playoff right now, and I am shocked by that because I do not think Ohio State. Sense. This is not an Ohio State team that
I saw. Oregon was like plus 400 in the third odds. So
yeah, insane.
Great number.
But look, I think this game's already through. On to next year for Ohio State. Actually, I don't know if we play Ohio State next year. I know the schedules are all
No,
weird,
we do. It's the last year for a while.
Is it? Okay, yeah. So next year. On to Ohio State for next year. Focus on the rest of this year. We've got 3 games that are very, very winnable. And go make the playoff and go have a home game. Go have a home game in the college football playoff. This is going to be historic for Penn State. I hope Penn State football has this game out of their mind because there are brighter futures ahead this season. Already, the season is not over like it used to be in the past.
It's not. That's what's exciting. I agree with everything you just said. So if you want to hear my thoughts, just skip back like a minute and listen to David's talk again because I agree.
So we didn't really talk about this game off podcast, so that's wild.
There's nothing to say. South Carolina A&M. I just want to talk about South Carolina. They are 5-3 in college football playoff rankings, landscape, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really mean anything. But they're playing fun this year. They have been in every single game. They are playing spoiler. They beat A&M, who, was probably feeling on top of the freaking world after who they beat the week before, LSU?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a huge win for the Gamecocks. They are building something there because I heard they almost fired their coach last year, and he has just reignited that team. So good for them.
Yep, I completely agree that this South Carolina team's fun. And to all you people, they're probably not watching, like Jacob Casadas. I told you Texas A&M were frauds. I told you. I've been saying it all year. They finally got them.
Shout out Jacob Casadas. All right, on to the next one. Texas Tech and Iowa State. Iowa State finally loses. They were in position to be the Big 12 champion, the favorite, the 4 seed in the rankings that came out on Tuesday. But this really, really hurts them. In the Big 12, basically just opened the floodgates for chaos because now Colorado is involved. Now, who else is involved? BYU. Forgetting a team.
Absolutely, BYU.
I'm forgetting a team.
Maybe, I don't know, UCF possibly.
Yeah, UCF possibly. And then, honestly, Texas Tech just re-entered their name into the Big 12 fray because they are playing Colorado this weekend, and they can end Colorado's playoff hopes pretty much this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So that should be a very, very fun game. And it means more in was it Lubbock at midnight? It's very, very fun there. Oh, yeah.
I did not watch this game, but I will give you.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I will give you my hottest of takes, maybe on this podcast ever, on the next slide regarding the Big 12.
Oh, perfect. All right. Louisville takes down Clemson. Sheesh, tough for Clemson. They lost, obviously, week 1 to Georgia, got their ass kicked, but then they started kicking everyone else's ass the rest of the year. Seriously, like some giant margins of victory. But then they lost by 12 to Louisville. Weird year for Clemson. I hope Dabo hits the portal after this year. He's got to learn.
first loss at night in I'd call fake Death Valley. In
I
like
don't know how they
many years, like almost a decade, I think.
That's crazy. Wow.
So this is also a very tough environment to play in, especially at night. And good for Louisville for going out there and kind of stomping the doors off them. This Louisville team is good. We've seen them have some big wins and put up a lot of points earlier this year. They had a very close game against Miami a few weeks ago. I think this Clemson team, Cade Klubnik is a good quarterback, but he is not in that elite status.
Unfortunately, he's not. And then SMU Pitt. You want to talk about this one because I know you're a big SMU.
Did not watch it. So again,
I didn't either.
I was very busy this weekend, but I knew a lot of people were on the SMU side. Pitt just came off of a massive win 2 weeks ago against Syracuse. Kyle McCord threw out 2 picks in the first half. People were just saying that this SMU team is just fundamentally a better football team.
Yeah.
Pitt just kind of has gotten lucky, and I guess people were right. Again, I didn't watch this game, but good for the Mustangs.
I agree. All right, our games of the week. Bama, number 11, taking on number 15, LSU. Bama and LSU, that always means something, especially when it's in Death Valley, the real Death Valley. Yeah. But can Bama do something? Can they recover this year?
I don't think so. I think this LSU team, especially at home, all these games are obviously fun, the LSU Alabama games in the past, but I think this LSU team is just better, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
We've seen Alabama struggle all year. I know Jaden Milroe is a great quarterback, but I think LSU is the better 22 on the field. I think LSU takes down the Bama Crimson Tide this week.
I want to disagree, but there's something about Alabama that just feels so stinky ever since they went up in that third quarter against Georgia and then completely collapsed, but somehow won. Yep. Very, very weird. Speaking of Georgia, though, they have a big game against Ole Miss in Oxford this Saturday. Ole Miss can never beat Georgia. Can they this weekend?
I think there's a chance. I'm not telling you they will. I just think this is going to be a much closer game than people think. I slightly lean on the Georgia side for winning this game, but it would not shock me if I woke up Sunday morning and looked at this game and saw.
You're not going to watch this game on Saturday?
I'll probably watch this game.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You're going to watch this game.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, come on. And then the last one, Colorado, Texas Tech. Should people take Colorado to win the Big 12?
Possibly at this point. I have been a Colorado hater for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. You hate
Colorado team has impressed me mightily this year.
Travis Hunter is the Heisman, right?
At the moment, I believe he's the favorite.
That's not what I'm asking you. You hate this question because I've asked you this question for like a year, and you've been telling me no every time. And I've been like, Colorado's not that bad. And
no. I still want to say no.
Travis Hunter's playing 115 snaps both ways. He's proving it that he can eventually do this in the NFL.
115 snaps. I'll show you what I can.
You can't play 115 snaps.
Look, I think it's a rough Heisman year. There hasn't been a ton of people.
I think this is a great Heisman year. We got a quarterback who's standing out. We got a good running back, and then we got.
I mean, there hasn't been the last few years. There have been runaways by this point of the season. Okay. Maybe I'll walk that back. We don't know who the Heisman is at this point, and that's pretty rare from the past few years, probably. I would still give it to Cam Ward, to be completely honest with you. At the moment. I absolutely would. An undefeated Miami team that he's walked into, and they are a powerhouse now. Powerhouse again. But Travis Hunter's 100% making the podium.
Miami's going to lose any week now.
Don't say it.
They're going to lose any week now.
Don't say it.
Do you have a Miami future or something?
Yeah, then to win the ACC.
Oh my God! Of course you do.
5-1.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? It's free money, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously. All right, let's get to the rankings. Give me that take.
My take. I see BYU here with a bye because they're saying that BYU is at the top of the Big 12 right now.
Projected to win, yeah.
I do not think that a Big 12 team will get a bye. I believe that BYU. I believe it's how the buys work. It's 4 best conference winners, ranked wise. The 4 best ranked conference winners. Give me Boise State in there at that 4 slot. Boise State's number 12. They're not going to lose. They
already lost to Oregon.
They're not going to lose again. The Big 12 winner. There's a good chance the Big 12 winner has 3 losses. I think this Boise State team ends the year as a top 10 team, and they will get the bye, and the Big 12 will crumble in the first round of playoff.
BYU's 8-0. You think they're going to get 3 more losses?
Dude, look at their schedule. They might lose this week at Utah.
But
Tough.
Utah. I mean,
They're
sure, it's at Utah. Is it at night?
It is. It's tough to play.
10-15. Okay, that's fair. Fair enough. I'll give you that
100%.
one. But Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston, is that
Arizona
a tough schedule?
State's been very feisty this year.
Oh, get
Very
out of here.
feisty
The
this year.
Sun Devils are the biggest wussies ever.
But here's the thing: BYU could make the conference championship and lose, so they wouldn't get that
True.
opportunity. So you
True.
still could see a 2-loss Colorado,
I'm sorry,
2 or 3 loss Colorado.
I hate to rain on your parade, but a Mountain West team is not getting the 4th power conference.
Give me Boise State straight to the court.
No. Genty is
I'm
slowed
calling it
down.
right now. Clip it.
No.
Clip it.
I will clip it. But to the rest of this projected bracket stands out to me. Penn State, Notre Dame, potential first round game in Happy Valley. Oh my God, chef's kiss, everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing. And then just looking at the rest of this, Alabama, Texas, this would be the 3rd time they played in 2 years. That's awesome. Tennessee and Indiana. I mean, Indiana looks like a powerhouse right now. So to see them play a real SEC powerhouse like Tennessee, my God. And then imagine we're Columbus week 1, college football playoff, last week of December, and Boise State takes down the Buckeyes week 1. Imagine that.
I'm saying one word, and I'm saying possible.
How possible? Give me a percentage.
That Boise State beats Ohio State at Ohio State.
Yeah.
23.
Like 23% chance?
It's probably a lot
Really?
higher than what other people would think.
Yeah.
People would probably put that closer to 15. I'm putting it at 23.
I kind of like it. I hate Ohio State. Would love to see them go out week 1. But they was just taking in this graphic as a whole. This is awesome. It's a great looking graphic. I love the way that we're going to be portraying this going forward. Got the top 12, and then in classic NCAA tournament fashion, we got the first team out and the second team out. Love that.
Yeah.
We got that in college football.
I was just going to say my analysis on this is that this is just awesome.
Yeah, this is just awesome.
Yeah, this is probably going to look a lot different next week.
Yep.
And it's probably going to look a lot different in a few weeks, but This is awesome to look at.
Yep. There was something going on last night that may have prohibited you from seeing this, but well worth it when you see it on Twitter or Instagram the first time. You're like, wow, what a graphic.
I forgot.
Some say this is the best graphic.
I forgot it was going on until a Bleacher Report notification came my way, and I was like, wow,
everybody and their mother did. It's okay.
At 6. So, wow. I was like, all right, but
we'll take it. We're not complaining. All right.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Let's get to your picks of the weekend.
Yeah, let's go to last week. All-time record now moves to 9-5-1. Went 2-1 last week. Actually, we talked about it last week. You asked me if I would sprinkle money line on Vanderbilt. I wish I took my own advice because I did not. But they ended up beating Auburn. This Colts.
They won?
The Colts. The Vanderbilt won.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
I did not track that game. Good for them.
Colts, they had this. They had this in the bag. They were shutting out the Vikings in the first half.
They lost by 6?
They lost by like 8, I think. Like they kicked a. So here's the thing. They kicked a field goal with 30 seconds left to try to get the onside kick instead of going for the touchdown immediately, and then the onside kick to save time. So kind of got. I don't want to say screwed, but happens. That was a loss. Patriots Titans. This was a sweat. This game actually went to overtime.
This went under?
This
20 to 17?
Yeah. This game ended 2017. Extra walk-off field goal. So this game went to overtime and still hit the under. So I stick by my word. Anything under 40, I really like the under.
And under 38, cashing in overtime, crazy. That's crazy. All right. Do you have anything you want to give out before we get out of here? Anything that's on the top of your head?
Absolutely. I've got good picks of the week.
Nice.
I'm going to take the Bills -4. They're at Indy this week. Indy, I'm going against my word from last week. They disappointed me last week, so give me the Bills. Bills are one of the hottest teams in football right now, I think.
Memphis? What are we doing, David? We'll get there.
I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, let's go with the funny prop. I've got it here. Joe Burrow, over 24.5 completions. The last time this high-flying game happened, the Bengals against the Ravens earlier this year, Burrow completed 30 of his passes. I think he clears this mark at 24.5. My dog, Give me Virginia at Pitt. What was I saying about Pitt? They've gotten lucky all year. SMU killed them. This Virginia offense they are run and gun. And I think that they're going to throw all day against this Pitt team. I like it that they're at over a touchdown right now. All right. You want to talk the future? You want to talk Memphis? Penny Hardaway action? Just a sprinkle. They're not 250-1. They're going to win their conference. They're going to win the American Conference.
Who's
the
in
American.
Conference?
Who's in the American?
Like, who's actually in it this year? Like, UCF?
Who's in the American this year?
They're in the Big 12. Yeah. Like, who's in the American this year? Temple?
No.
Who's their main competition? I mean, they'll probably win their conference, yes. But if you think Penny Hardaway is going to get to a Final Four,
I don't know. They just beat Missouri. 100% they can do it. If this Memphis team actually...
Don't forget, legendary basketball program.
Missouri. Actually, Temple is in the American. This Memphis team, I think, can actually win, like legitimately win 28 games and have a top 6 seed. And you're getting it at 250-1 right now. I just wanted to throw it out there. I'm just throwing it out there.
I know, I get it. I see the number, but it makes me feel like I've, wasted $20 on that Suns future with you because it's about the same number.
No, the Suns future is like 25-1. This
sorry.
is 250-1.
Sorry, I missed the zero. You're so right. But I still view it the same way, actually, because Memphis stinks.
Memphis brought in the number 4 ranked transfer portal in the entire country last year.
Rutgers signed 2 5-stars. Anything can happen, bro.
Take a look. Go ahead and take a look at Rutgers future. That's fine. Go ahead. I don't care.
I actually love a Rutgers future. They have 2 5-star.
Is that your question mark? Is that your question mark?
No, my money line, my pick of the week is Eagles spread. Whatever it is, take it. Seriously, they're gonna kill Dallas.
I like it. I don't like it.
That's all I got. Cooper Rush stinks. Right?
Yeah, he's bad.
Terrible. He's absolutely terrible. Penn State's got Washington this weekend. They're gonna cover.
Sitting at like 14.5 right now. I think so. I think this Washington team isn't good. Night game, whiteout. Just
are they getting the Davis boost? You gonna be there?
Not sure. Good question. Talk to me about that tomorrow. Well, I should have better answer.
Yeah, bet on a Friday. All right. We appreciate everyone for tuning in for the whole show. Like, subscribe, share that shit. Send it to your friend. Send it to your brother and tell them it's terrible. They'll watch it maybe. Who cares? Like, subscribe, share. Love you guys. Peace.